What's up guys, welcome to AnimeKouhai. If you want to help me out, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel.
Thus, as one of the first steps our fledgling nation takes, we are thinking of launching a new national level project to help support you.
Basically, her question was what kind of project they should launch.
Well, it'd involve agriculture, I guess, like you've been talking about.
Everything is going well there. We're having our people grow the designated crops without issue.
So what else?
Was there something else? Everything I thought to ask her about was already taken care of. Diablo's work cowing the noble ranks into submission was complete, and Yam enjoyed overwhelming support among the people. The role of the military in his government was clearly defined, and the entire nation was now united. The old Farmus was gone, and the new Farminus had taken root in its place. I thought that tying up the loose ends from that was job one, but as Majoran explained, that was already finished. The citizens had by now been notified that agriculture would be the nation's focus for the next little while, too. I was impressed. Diablo may have set everything up, but Majoran, taking over from him, had a greater talent for this than I thought.
Okay, well, can you bring together anyone who's still out of work for me?
Certainly, Sir Rimuru. We were hoping that we could help with the rail laying work for you as well. This transportation network will be a lifeline for moving around the crops we produce, won't it?
Yeah, I imagine so. You'll probably be producing a lot more than we'd be able to consume internally, besides. I think it's important for a nation to bring food to anywhere it's needed before it rots.
Back in the Farmus era, when the government had traded on the sly with the Dwarven Kingdom, the products involved were crafts, weapons, and other durable goods that didn't deteriorate over time. Responsibility for their transport was assigned to the merchants. The nation collected customs taxes as essentially free income for no work on their part. That would change now. The nation would need to boost its trust, guaranteeing goods alongside the merchants. It was the start of a new era, one where Farminus provided guaranteed logistics for trade.
I look forward to the day when these Magitrains run across the grasslands of our nation. I think they will transform our merchant class and how they conduct their business. We have much to learn if we want to contribute.
Yep, they'll run far faster than wagons. A journey that takes a week now will be run in less than 3 hours. And that's with carrying over 100 times more goods at once, I imagine.
Gazel and Elmesia didn't seem surprised, perhaps assuming this kind of leap. Everyone else was stunned, it was just so unexpected. Yuki, Hinata, and Masayuki, meanwhile, all cracked smiles for other reasons.
So yeah, all want to purchase the land we need now and plan our rail lines out to be as straight as possible, for efficiency's sake. Geld staff, and the beastmen studying here in town, should be mastering surveying before long. I'm thinking of leaving that work to them and just performing the final checks when they're done. Majoran, I can put all the workers you can give us under their command. Divide them up into teams, led by whoever's literate out of them.
Very well, this is getting a little exciting.
Majoran sounded up for it. She seemed ready to offer her support from the very start, so things would go pretty smoothly with Farminus, I felt. The next person to raise a hand was Fuse. He smiled at me.
With all the leaders here, I haven't had a chance to introduce myself yet. Hello.
He had attended the full festival, including the pre-launch banquet, but all the celebrities I was hanging with apparently made him too timid to speak up. I had noticed him, actually, but sadly, the timing never quite worked out. He'd looked like he was enjoying the show, though, so I'd resolved, and then promptly forgot, to chat with him later.
Sorry about that. I meant to say hello, but...
No, it's fine, Sir Rimuru. You looked busy regardless. But anyway, today I have a friend who wants to speak about the very topic we've been discussing.
He then introduced the Baron of Vryard, a man I knew well, to the audience. I remember how much of a hard worker he was, one I trifled with at my own risk.
My name is Vryard, and I appreciate being granted the permission to attend. Thank you, Sir Rimuru, and thank you in advance to everyone else I am speaking to.
He stood handsomely upright, then gave the hall an elegant bow. It was an impressive performance. One could hardly believe he was a rank-and-file noble from a small nation.
Now, on behalf of my lord, His Majesty King Doram of Bloomend, I wish to ask a question.
Vryard took a moment to survey the audience. The king himself was in attendance, along with his wife, the queen. They barely even registered. I hardly knew they were in here. I had told King Doram that we'd plan an official conference shortly, but I suppose we didn't need to any longer. This was kind of functioning as one. He was all smiles, an affable old man in appearance, and I wasn't sure if that was a good look for him right here. In his place, Vryard began to speak.
I was informed by Fuse that Sir Rimuru would be speaking about matters related to our homeland of Bloomin's future place in the world. I have also heard from King Doron that he plans to make Bloomin into a hub for commerce and distribution. I have been thinking about what that might look like, but listening to everything discussed today, I now have a much clearer picture. It appears, Sir Rimuru, that you envision Bloomin as a sort of clearinghouse for logistics. Now, the Magitrains you speak of will no doubt vastly change the norms of this field. If a hub in this new logistical network is built in our nation, I am sure we will see goods from every corner of the land gather within our borders. Naturally, we will need someone to oversee all these goods, as well as people to oversee what each nation is lacking and make the necessary arrangements to address that deficiency. Sir Rimuru, do you wish for us to perform these roles?
That's Vryard for you. A lot sharper than Fuse, to be sure. And he put exactly what I was thinking about into words.
Yes, that's right, but can you manage that? Because I'm sure it goes without saying that if all you can provide is space for this, that's fine, too. In that case, we'd promise to pay you a percentage tax every year for use of the land, but...
Oh, nothing of it. Staying out of this business and lazily living off the profits is something our citizens would never be satisfied with. Certainly, we are willing to offer education and prepare for the times to come.
Man, how many years into the future was this guy looking? I had the good Professor Raphael watching over me, but this guy was using his own brain to keep up with all of this? That went beyond just being visionary. It was like his mind was more sharply refined than anybody else's in the room. But he was right. Bloomin was about to experience a paradigm shift that would make it reconsider its value system for just about everything. The same would be true for other nations, but for Bloomin, I'd imagine the results would be dramatic. Vryard could see this, and he just declared that he was preparing for it. What a guy this is. He had already bested me in one round of negotiations. Just as I thought, I definitely had to stay alert around him. I swear, I'm really glad he's not my enemy right now.
In that case, by all means. I'd like you to examine what sort of goods will be imported and exported from each nation and build ways to transport products to places that need them. For a nation so gifted in gathering and manipulating information, you'll be uniquely qualified, I'm sure.
Ah, there's no pulling the wool over your eyes, Sir Rimuru. Very well. I promise you that I will bring this issue home and deliberate over it in further detail.
Like you're one to talk, I thought as I nodded. I was trying to hold a Founders Festival review meeting here, but now it had turned into a huge political war of nerves. But it was worth it, because I no longer had to negotiate with Bloomin. I was expecting to take more time navigating all manner of tricky issues, but Baron Vryard helped spring me from all of that. Was that a good or bad thing? I wasn't immediately sure, but if we were at this point, might as well throw all my weight into supporting it. With that, I promptly began to agonize over what I would ask Vryard for first. So we had talked on end about thorny issues related to running our nations, but now it was really time to focus on the festival. I mentally changed gears, preparing to listen to everyone's feedback.
All right, does anyone else have anything to add?
Someone shot to their feet, as if waiting for the signal. It was Veldora. I dreaded this moment so much, I thought about pretending I didn't notice him, but...
Rimuru, what is the meaning of this?
What's the meaning of what?
How do you mean?
The labyrinth. You know what I mean. I was anticipating so much, and nobody even attempted to tackle the 100th floor.
After all that lecturing I gave him, he still wasn't the least bit apologetic, was he? He just doesn't listen. Already, he was going on about the lines he memorized for the fateful encounter and so forth. I wanted to snap back at him about how little I cared, but I didn't. If I did, that's when he'd start really throwing his weight around.
Well, yes, I have my thoughts about that as well.
Do you? How reassuring to hear. So what are you going to do about it?
What? I dunno. At the very least, we'd have to start dividing adventurer groups by strength levels.
We'll need to work on it, that's for sure. Because the challengers who came in were all decent, at least. Intermediate or better, you know?
Decent.
That's kind of rude.
But I'm not sure I can deny that.
Cabal's party gloomily sighed at me. Considering how devoted they were to robbing my treasure chests blind, I hoped they would forgive at least a little sass.
Nah, me, all I had to do was walk a little bit, and we were on floor 10. The next thing I knew, my companions beat the boss for me.
I think Masayuki meant to comfort them with that, but it just came off as self-aggrandizing. Then again, Ellen didn't seem too despondent about the experience, so maybe it wasn't a big issue. I figured I could leave them be.
so I wouldn't count on anyone knocking on your door for a while to come.
Of course, for Veldora, he might not ever get any visitors, but...
What? Then what did Ramirez and Milam and I work so hard for?
He really should have included me in that list, but ah well.
Hey, don't worry. In terms of worldwide advertising, yesterday's unveiling was a big success.
Oh?
Can you give us the details, Molly?
Mjolmile stood up, brimming with confidence as he addressed Veldora.
The footage we revealed from inside the labyrinth drummed up interest from multiple nations. I think rare items appearing from the treasure chests generated a great deal of attention.
And that was my doing.
Actually, Veldora may have done something right, maybe?
If my guess is correct, the nobles in the audience will likely be sending the adventurers on their payroll into the labyrinth before long.
As he explained it, the noble classes often hired adventurers or stout mercenaries to serve as bodyguards. Now that they saw the treasures potentially available in the labyrinth, they'd likely send those people over to collect the booty, earning the rights to whatever they picked up in exchange for supporting them. Even adventurers without wealthy patrons would likely take multiple trips in, searching for fortune and glory. As Gaia so eminently showed us, rare weaponry and armor really were that hard to pick up otherwise. We wouldn't mention it here, by the way. But Mjolmile had an even more vicious scheme in mind, bringing on shills who'd score big in the labyrinth for him, like a crooked lottery, to stoke everyone's gambling instincts. Having them obtain flashy items that everyone could see as valuable would no doubt drum up a competitive spirit among the adventurers. Between that and other little tricks, we were planning ways to get adventurers and nobles alike addicted to this thing. And Mjolmile had even more plans in store.
That's not all, either. I am considering instituting a bounty system as well. If we announce that anyone who conquers the dungeon down to the 100th floor will win a vast sum of money, I believe many nobles will bring adventurers over and support their quest to win it all.
That's it for this video, guys. Thank you for always watching my videos and supporting my channel.
Shout out to Luminous Sika, Somanizan, Rembaru, Wubbalubadubdub, Moss Bull, Soulwolf, Laurentiu Cataline Deduianu, Alexis Tanudra, 18 Manon Parmer. And last but not the least, shout out to Mata Narendra Singh. I'll see you guys in the next video.